DJs, producers, are you still using vocal sample packs to make your records? Vanilla Ace returns to my YouTube channel to talk about digging for samples to make your records better. This is round 2. Let's jump in. Hey, it's Graham Farmer from Data Transmission. It's down YouTube. This is the return. I'm joined by Vanilla Ace again. He joined me before. Did you watch that video? I'll link it here and I'll link it below. Go and watch that. We talked about sampling and talked about the best ways to find samples and to dig for samples. And someone actually made a track from it and that got released on his label. So it shows it works if you go and hunt for samples and not just use the ones from sample packs. We chatted about it again on my live stream, and I'm streaming on Twitch on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Come and join us. We have live interviews, live A&R sessions, live demo listening sessions. We get music signed. We help artists with their social media. It's great fun on Twitch. We also have a Discord server where we continue the conversation. The link's below. I'm Discord verified, so discord.gg/Graham Farmer. Come and join us on our Discord. It's like old school forums. It's well cool. Also in this conversation with Vanilla Ace, I chatted about streaming on Twitch and being a Twitch artist and DJ, which I'm really into. I'm loving Twitch, and he's been on streaming on there for a while. I also talked about his label, Wyldcard, how he signs music. This video is packed full of tips for Vanilla Ace. Let's jump into it and see what you think. Let's go. Hello, mate. How was your weekend? How are you?
Weekend was good. I've been DJing quite a lot under my real name, just to earn money and basically pay the bills. Obviously, everyone knows I do multiple things. Well, if you don't know, I do gigs under my real name. I've got Sammy Deuce alias as well, and obviously Vanilla Ace, Wyldcard, my label. So yeah, it's just good to be working again, DJing. Yeah, obviously no one's dancing really, but still just good to be out playing music and putting all the hundreds of promos I get sent to good use.
I bet you've got a stat. Like I imagine if I had to play somewhere, but it's just like, where do you start from like 12 months worth of music? Like,
I mean, it's actually good when I started doing these like rooftop gigs and stuff. Like where I'm playing later, I'm playing London Bridge Rooftop, whereas mainly we play like house and disco and stuff. So it's actually good to have this like 12 months of music that I haven't played.
Nice. Yeah. Are you doing that regularly?
Yeah. I mean, I think last week I had like 6 gigs. This week's about 5. Yeah. I can't complain. Especially when you haven't worked for, I did work a little bit last summer, but it wasn't as consistent as it is now. It was very choppy last year, because so many changes and stuff with the lockdowns and all that.
You got into the Twitch thing as well during the lockdowns?
I was very resilient against it. So last year, I have a friend of mine, Ray Domingo. He's quite big on Twitch. He's got like over 10,000 followers on here now. He's like made partner and everything. So last year, he lives near me, and me and him both have a love of like 90s R&B and hip hop and all that kind of stuff. So I would go over to his last year just to jam. And he'd always be like, oh, get on Twitch and blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, oh, I can't be bothered. So I just like going to his and jamming and playing. And then it got to Christmas time, and my mum got me a DJ controller for Christmas. And I was like, well, I've got to put this to good use now, don't I? So I thought, well, I might as well jump on, get on Twitch and also keep, for sanity reasons, just to keep myself busy. I thought, no, let me dive into Twitch and get going. Yeah, so I wasn't doing like 5 days a week on Twitch. I was doing like, because I've got gigs now, it's really hard. Like I'm literally doing like one thing a week. And that's a thing called Are You Old School, which is every Tuesday where we play like tomorrow is like a versus edition. So it's more of a hip hop thing. That's my background, and I still love playing it. And as I was saying to you earlier before we came live, I would have done a Vanilla Ace page, a Sammy Deuce page, where it's so much work. Like even now with the Sam Young page, I haven't even got to 1,000 followers on there. But it's like Twitch is a lot. You got to be so dedicated, I think.
You've just got to drive a lot of audience to it, haven't you? And if you're splitting it all over the place, it's just easier coming from one place for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
How are you finding the streaming in general? Like,
no, it was good. I mean, for a while, I was doing a Wyldcard show every Sunday, but then I don't know what happened. My enthusiasm for it kind of like died off. And also I realized I was streaming at the wrong time. Technically, I could bring it back because now also I was streaming from home, and which wasn't great for the family life because like my wife goes to bed like quite early, and I realized that most of my audience is like maybe like America and South America. So me streaming at 12 p.m. or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and basically UK time, early UK time doesn't really work for that. It was something I could revisit, and I could maybe start doing a Wyldcard show again, but it'd have to be, I'd probably have to do like a better time, or maybe talk to some of the American homies and see if any of them can like raid me on a regular basis. I know like guys like Treasure Fingers and Night Base, Space Yacht, they do like regular stuff on Twitch, which is good.
Yeah, I like those guys. I like lots of those guys. We just had a mix from Space Shot. He's really cool.
Space Yacht they do a party and label in America. They're based in LA. I've actually just signed a track with them, with Suave and Hitter, who I signed to my label, and we did some collabs. And Space Yacht took one of the tracks, which is cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about music. So how's releases been? How have your releases? Let's talk about your releases first and foremost. What's been going down?
Hard to tell during the pandemic. It's hard to tell what's good, and don't get me wrong. Like I've been releasing consistently as usual. And I think that's important. I mean, regardless of being on lockdown, I remember I asked this question at the beginning of lockdown. I'm on one of those Facebook groups. I think it was like Country Club Disco. And I was like, I'm going to pause all my releases, even the label. I'm just going to stop until things get back to normal. And in a way, I'm glad I didn't, because obviously the label has kept me busy as well. And obviously, one comment that stood out is that, regardless of clubs being open or festivals happening or not, people do need music, regardless. Yeah, I've just remained releasing stuff on the label and stuff of my own, and I think it's important. I noticed a lot of the bigger names just didn't release much music at all during lockdown. Like I don't know why. I think it's silly, because obviously people are still streaming music, and there's other ways to be heard. Obviously like Twitch and all these other things, and I think Twitch is great in that sense where you kind of build a new audience. People on Twitch, when I started, you're kind of, it's like an ego check in a way. It's kind of like a very humbling experience, because they don't know who you are. They don't know your backstory. They don't know anything about you. You're like, if you're on a raid, I've done raid trains with loads of people, and like, and you'll look at some people's profiles and you've never heard of them, and they've probably never done half the things you've done, but they've got like a crazy following, and you're just like, wow, who's this guy? You know what I mean? Twitch is its own universe in that sense, where it's like modern day pirate radio. You can do what you play what you want, do what you want. They can see you. You're building that relationship with your viewers. It was a very, very humbling experience to begin with when I was on Twitch, and it definitely knocks your ego in the check, because you're just like, wow, like, so you might not have many people watching or whatever, and then sometimes. Then I got a friend of mine who does this great Friday night stream, Caper, who basically she used to be like one of my resident DJs. So I think Twitch is also one of those, a bit like music industry. It's kind of like who you know and who you can call favors in from. I'd do some streams where you'd have 10 people watching, then I'd be on a raid train with someone and I'd do these Prince ones. We did a couple of Prince things, which were great. And you'd have like 500 people watching, or like 300. Yeah, sorry, I've gone all over the place from your question about music. But yes, I have been releasing music. I tend to do that. I just kind of go off.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, the whole Twitch thing's mad. Like, I've been kind of going into it quite heavy. Once I was made partner, I just started to learn like what's going on, and just going and watching loads of channels, just seeing like what's been happening. And you find all these like really small DJs that have got massive following. And you're like, wow, who are you? Like, what are you doing? It's good for discovery, for sure.
I've had many discussions with different DJs about Twitch. It's a funny one. You could be the best club DJ in the world, but you could be awful on Twitch. Your mic skills or just your general banter or whatever could just be awful. Don't get me wrong. I got loads of my DJ buddies. They're amazing turntablists and scratching and blah, blah, blah. But you can't do that for 2-3 hours on Twitch. Well, you could. There might be a few people that like it. Then their presentation skills or their talk, like, it's funny. And then you got some people who are just amazing at engaging with their audience. It's an interesting one, that's for sure.
And your background's quite engaging as well. Like you doing your vinyl behind you all the time or in front of you?
Yeah. So obviously I'm doing this from home today, but usually, so I'm resident for Hip Hop Brunch, which do loads of stuff in London. And so I've been, so after my teething problems of starting on Twitch, I was like, I didn't have a microphone. I was having issues with the missus streaming from home too much. So luckily, the Ollie who runs Hip Hop Brunch, he was like, "Yeah, just come and do it at the office." You know what I mean? I was like, "It's a massive space, and he's got all his records there and all that." And I was like, "Oh, amazing!" So yeah, I'll be in there tomorrow, basically doing the Are You Old School thing.
Let's talk about
Perfect.
Wyldcard.
Yeah.
You sign a lot of new artists. You sign a lot of young artists. Where do you find music first and foremost? Is it just from demos? Is it?
Well, Wildcard at the beginning, I kind of reached out to a load of like, you know, my industry friends. Like I had like Worthy, Ghetto Blaster, Kasim, all those guys, just to get the ball rolling. And now I kind of just rely on demos. Really, it's kind of like once you've had a few releases and people see what you're about, it kind of takes a life of its own. You know, the demos are getting more and more frequent on the. So I probably get about, I don't know, 10. I'm glad I'm not someone like Hot Creations, probably where they probably get 1,000 a week. But I get my fair share of. It's quite a lot. Some weeks are more than others, but yeah, it's mainly a lot of Brazil, like South American Brazil producers. You know, I'm down with a lot of the Russian guys, like No Hopes, Get Cozy, Kito Boy. And it's great to see, like, you know, someone like Get Cozy, like he releases with me, and then his next release afterwards is Dirty Bird, which is fantastic. And then there's other guys like Sonic Craft who've been on my label. Then we did a release together that was on Sonny Federa's label, Solo Toko. But no, the good thing I think running the label is obviously when I start touring again, because I'm already in discussions with my agency in America about touring again. Is that obviously I can pull in all those contacts, and you know, from even like I've signed to loads of American guys, like obviously like someone like Chris Shambaka, who's from Texas, from Dallas. Then you got someone like Tony H, who's where is he? I think he's in Seattle. So you know what I mean? You got that connection, that closer connection than you would before. I don't say yes to everyone. I am a fussy bastard. My general rule is like, would I play it myself? That's the thing. Like, would I play it in a warm up set? Like, you know, when I'm playing like where I'm at today, the rooftop, or would I play it if I'm in a club or festival? That's how I look at it.
That's interesting. You're saying about coming from a touring point of view. Like, I guess those people would, you know, that you can pull on their fan bases a bit, and they might join you on a lineup if they're from a warm up point of view, I guess, as well.
Yeah. Really, I'd just love to start doing wildcard tours, really. So it'd be like obviously it'd be a Vanilla Race thing, but it would be every city I'm in, it would just be whoever's local from the label would join on the lineup, and maybe some, you know, special guests and that kind of thing, you know?
One of the things we were discussing before on email was you were saying about not using sample packs, using sample packs.
I think, I've seen this debate rage on, and I got friends of mine that make sample packs. I've been asked to make sample packs, and I always say no, because I just think I heard it's a good money maker, or whatever. But with sample packs, great. Don't get me wrong. I've used sample packs for drums and like the odd little hits and bits and bobs. But I just think lately, I find like the promos I like best are one where either it's got an original vocal or like clever sample or clever sampling. Like I had to tell a guy last night an email. He sent me a track and it had a Lisa Hathaway sample in it. I said, dude, this is the most overused vocal sample in the history of dance music. It doesn't matter if you pitched it down. Everyone knows what it is. No one's going to sign it. No one. I was brutal with him. I said, the music's cool, but just get rid of that vocal. Just don't do it. And if you are, just do it as a free download or whatever. Yeah, like no one wants to hear that vocal again. Sorry.
Harsh but true.
In my mind, it's like, come on, it's like it's been done 1,000 times.
Agreed. And there's plenty of other places you can get vocals.
And also, I think the problem nowadays with the digital age is kids don't know how to dig. It sounds harsh. It's true. Kids who are making music who are 18, 17, they'd probably never been to a record shop. Let's be honest. You're in a day of the digital age of YouTube, Spotify, all this other stuff. So everything's at your fingertips, everything. So the art of sampling, I find you'll get it with the older guys. You know, I'm 41 now, but you'll get it with guys my age or a bit older who know their stuff. It's very rare that you'll find a young guy, a young producer that's going like digging for records and like looking for that super obscure sample or just something different. You know what I mean? It's it's a tough one because it's true in this digital age. Like obviously, I remember Scream saying like, "Oh, the best place to find samples is YouTube." Okay, yeah, it could be. I found stuff on YouTube, but I wouldn't say it's the best place. But you know what I mean? It's it's a tough one because I think if you want to get back to that golden era of like house music and stuff, it's like you people got to be original.
I always remember there's a quote from Fatboy Slim that said you need to go to the charity shop and find the vinyl with the guys with the biggest beards on because that'll have the best samples.
It's true. But he's a prime example of when you look at these guys like the Fatboy Slims, Chemical Brothers, Masters at Work, go and listen to their early catalogs. Armin van Helden. How do you think he made You Don't Know Me? You know what I mean? That's because he went and dug for that Carrie Lucas sample and he fully heard those strings. It was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And he made it his own. And then after that, everyone else has copied him. You know what I mean? And Dwayne Harden put his vocal on it and whatever. But you look at Chemical Brothers, who I think probably they find amazing samples. Even now on their latest album, which I don't know how that was well received or not, but I loved it. Prodigy, great sample finders as well. But there's a reason because they're all from that same era, but they're probably a bit older than me. They dug for records. It's an art form. Sampling the same vocal pack that 10, 20 other guys have used is not the one. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. We did it last year when we sampled our track for the track that we made. We were like, we found a funk mix and then we literally pulled that funk mix apart and we're like, who's the tracks in it? And then we went to Spotify to listen to them and then we listened to those and then it was like, right, we like this part. And then we downloaded that off iTunes. It was intense and it was good. It's actually it's incredible fun. Like we were doing it for weeks. It was amazing.
For my Sammy Deuce project, which is more house disco, some of the samples I have found is actually from just being on Spotify, but that's because I've delved like deep into the catalogs of artists.
Yeah.
So like that's the only one good thing I'd say about Spotify is it does when it comes to like the old stuff, like the 70s, 80s artists, it usually does have their whole back catalogue. So that's what I was doing during lockdown a lot. I was literally just listening to so much of that stuff. And that's why, I had a lot of success with the Sammy Do stuff recently. I had a few number ones on Track Source and stuff with Seb Jr. And that's literally just from being on Spotify like a madman and literally just going through all these old albums of all these old artists and like finding the most obscure album track that had like the break like that no one's ever used. And also what I do is then I go on like something like Who Sampled. And if I see that no one else has used it before or anything, I'm just like, yes. I'm like, amazing.
That's a good tip.
I love that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Always.
I like this with Spotify. Once you find that rare artist, then you can use the artists that sound like this, and it brings you up another 30 even more rare artists.
Yeah, for the disco funk stuff, I think Spotify is Apple Music is the exception. But I think when it comes to vote, like obviously now you've got all this. In the studio now, you got these amazing tools where you can extract acapellas from tracks. So like artists don't really have an excuse to be lazy in that sense. So you can, you can go dig in on YouTube or whatever, get into charity shops. But yeah, just don't know, get on Discogs, man. Let's go and find some amazing guy selling some like random, I don't know. It depends what you make really, but yeah. I remember I was going for my record collection and I found, I don't know where I got them from. We know back in the 80s, they used to do those house a cappella 12 inches with all the samples and the effects and stuff.
Yeah.
And it must be from like 88 or 89. I've still got a few of them. And some of it's amazing when you listen to them. You can listen to what was influencing people back then. And a lot of the vocals, some of them still haven't been used that widely to this day, but there's obviously the obvious ones like the Lolita Holloway is on there and stuff. But yeah, no, it's very interesting. It's definitely interesting.
Black White have said, I've never found a good vocal extractor. Any suggestions?
You know what's funny? This is a funny one. I played Idris Elba's wedding, right?
No way.
Yeah, it's not a secret. It's quite well documented. I did Idris Elba's wedding. I think it was 2019? Yeah, just the year before lockdown. Funny enough, I did that wedding with D Nice, which he's now huge on Instagram and stuff. And I remember, but the reason I'm bringing up Idris Elba is because I remember on the very last night, I'd finished DJing, but then him and all his boys were playing like this after party bit, and Idris Elba was playing this one track by Slum Village. It's called Tainted. And I went in the booth. I said, "Who played this?" And Idris is like, "Oh, I did." And I said, "Idris knows I'm Vanilla Ace." And I said to her, "I've always wanted to do a house mix of that vocal." And he said, and then he told me he was one of the first people to tell me about that vocal extractor. He said, "Oh, you should use this such and such thing." And I was like, "Ah, cool."
That's cool.
So he knows
really
he knows his studio apps and all that.
So you've sent us a lot of music. Is this new stuff?
I sent you, so the Vanilla Ace and Amy Lauren EP is out now. That's out on Kidball, which is doing really well, which I was really happy to see. And the other tracks are from Wild Grooves Volume 3, which comes out this Friday on Wyldcard.
Nice. Shall we grab some tea and check one out?
So so like Carl Zuck, Makrolev, all those ones that are basically the D-Tech, basically the middle five are like from the compilation.
Cool.
The middle five.
Right, so let's talk about this.
So that's D-Tech. He's from Vietnam. Basically, when I was putting it together, I never really planned to put the compilations together, but when I start getting so many demos of like tracks that I think will make a good compilation, I'm just like, as a label, you got to be kind of brutally honest, because at the end of the day, as a business as well, it's like, is this guy, is he going to make any money back after artwork and promo and blah blah blah? You know what I mean? So it's, in my mind, sometimes it's like, nah, let's put together a sick compilation. And it's the biggest one so far. I've never done 30 tracks before. So it's like 30 original tracks, on one compilation. It's out everywhere on Friday. I didn't do exclusive with anyone. I just thought, you know what, let everyone have it at the same time. Traxsource, Beatport, Apple Music, Spotify. That's the first time doing that as well. So yeah, D-Tech is from Vietnam, and he's released on some decent labels. I like the vocal on it, and I think it's something I'd play in a club if I was on tour or whatever. Like some of the latest promos, like recently, a couple of weeks back, we had a release from this guy Defo, the Solas EP, and he's from like Indonesia, and but it's just great to see someone like Jamie Jones like loving that EP. Just kind of makes it worthwhile when you're signing these new guys. A lot of new artists, I find they struggle with the self-promotion aspect of music. You got to really push them. There's some artists that are great, they're just like natural, and then there's others that they miraculously think that everyone's going to find their music.
Yes.
And it's like, you kind of got to really like hammer it home, like, if you don't tell your fans, they're never going to hear it. They got other shit going on in their lives. Like they need constant reminding. They don't feel any shame in like posting every day about a release. You have to do it.
I agree. 100% agree. So let's just talk through. So when D-Tech sent you this track, did you look at anything else? Did you just listen to the music and go, I'm into this? Did you look at what else they have going on?
Yeah, I checked out his Beatport profile. To me, it doesn't really matter if you've never released before, if you have released loads of labels. I don't really care. If the track's good, it's good. If I like it off the bat, I'm just like, yeah, cool. I signed a few things yesterday. Usually, if there's a bit of leftovers on a compilation like this one, literally, I've got like another 10 tracks for the Volume 3, the sequel, which will come out August the 12th. It was only supposed to be 6 tracks, but because I keep getting sent good stuff, like last night I signed another 3 tracks for it. Wow. It's just the way it is. No, but that's how it is. It's something's back. If it's good and I like it, I'm not. I'm a bit like that when I listen to promos. I'm very quick. I'm just like, I just need 30 seconds. I'm like, bam, 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 yeah, cool, done. I don't need to spend the whole day doing promos because it takes up too much of your life. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I'm the same with demos. I'll listen to it. Only time I listen to a song really intently is if it's really interesting.
Right.
I have to love it. To listen to it for over a minute, I have to love it. I have to be like, oh wow, this is really good. The guy's like done something, an interesting melody or something different, you know? Everyone watching, if you go and listen to Defoe's Solas track, that's something that I had to listen to a few times because I thought it was so genius. I thought, wow, this track is so different. That's a standout track right there.
We should listen to that track.
We should try. Yeah, you'll find it.
We can find it.
It'll be on my SoundCloud. Defoe, Solas.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I think you and I have a same listen on house music. Party is all the way for me. Like, I literally want to hear it and go, I want to go to a party.
I can imagine going off, like, you know, imagine like Amnesia or DC-10 and that goes on. Like, people go fucking mental. I've been, you know, when you've been DJing as long as me and getting promos sent to you as long as I have, you kind of, when something stands out like that, it really does stand out. You know what I mean? But like my pet peeve at the moment is piano house, like dance, like the really shit dance music that you'll hear on Kiss and Capitol and all that stuff during the day. I'm not talking about the special shows. I'm talking about during the day, like that awful Joel Corey type. It's like literally a stab in the heart to like dance music. It's just like, it's for 10-year-olds. It's a shit. Sorry.
Oh, but yeah, 10-year-olds will grow up and find other music, and it's a gateway.
I don't know. It's just it's awful. But the worst thing about it is, you know, there's so many artists that, you know, someone like Paul Woolford, for example, it just ends up like all his tracks just end up sounding the fucking same. I get sent promos of Paul Woolford remixes or like an MK track or whatever, and I'm just like, literally, is this the same person? I don't know. Sorry, I had to get it out there. I'm not a fan.
You get it out there.
There's so many amazing producers and artists like from all over the world making great tracks, but you know, sometimes I wish I won I could win the lottery tomorrow because I'd pump so much money into the label. It'd be insane.
Yeah, do you know, I have that same dream.
I would literally, I'd make Wyldcard the biggest fucking thing you could ever imagine. Like, you know, literally, I'd pump so much money. I'd make these guys so fucking famous, they would not know what hit them. They'd be like, what the fuck happened?
That's so funny.
For me, it'd just be about, it's more about just getting the good music heard, really. It's, for me, it's not about, you know, I don't care if they wanted the fame or not. It's, for me, it's just like, well, you're making music, bruv. Like, you know, if you got like a £1 million fucking marketing budget, why not? But funny enough, because that's how it probably used to be, like back in the day, if you want to call them bedroom producers, they'd, you know, make their little white label, put it in the record shop. They didn't know fucking Roger Sanchez and Todd Terry's playing. The next thing you know, they're signed to Defected or Strictly Rhythm, and then they're like, oh shit, they're on tour. And you know what I mean? They're like, That's probably how it used to be. They probably never expected it. They probably had high hopes, but it just happened.
SoundCloud. What are you saying about SoundCloud?
But basically, I got discovered because of SoundCloud as Vanilla Ace.
Did you?
Well, I wouldn't say discovered, but I got my big break because of The Magician. Remember when The Magician had his magic tapes? That's how I started touring the world, because of The Magician.
No way. I did not know that.
Yeah, because The Magician, I mean, really I should put it in my bio, but I don't. But I always talk about it. So when he put 3 Vanilla Ace tracks in a row on 3 different magic tapes. That's how I got my American agent. He emailed me, he said, I love that musicology track on that I heard on The Magician, blah, 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 blah. But obviously being on off recordings at their peak was a massive help as well. But SoundCloud, look at Disclosure. Disclosure, they pretty much fucking same thing. In that deep house period, SoundCloud played a massive part. I don't care what anyone says. Now, because they changed the algorithm, I don't know what the fuck they've done. But yeah, it used to be a lot more relevant.
I find once you get to 1,000 plays, if you can get to 1,000 plays really, really quickly, then you get a load of love out of SoundCloud, and for some reason you get a load of love off their algorithm, and I don't know if that's even a thing, but it just seems to be. Whenever I push something to 1,000 really, really fast, it'll go up to like 3 or 4 quite quickly after that.
See, I need to talk to you more often because I never know about these what the new rules are and algorithm changes and shit. It's kind of like it annoys me a bit. I'm just like, oh, SoundCloud's so shit.
Do you know what I do? It's using that playlist thing, like single playlists for single tracks on the daily, like you're saying with the Facebook, like posting on socials about your new record. The same with SoundCloud. Literally one playlist today, and tomorrow I'll delete it, and then I'll start to do it again and again. So it's just literally putting that track at the top of the stream so that your fans see it all the time. You know.
So because basically back in the day you could do the repost as much as you wanted, and then they stopped it, and that's what fucked it up. So that's how I used to get so many plays, because I was always every day, every 24 hours, repost.
Right. Yeah. So now you do that with playlists.
Yeah. Okay, I get it now. That's a good trick. I didn't know that trick, but thank you. It does make sense.
It just puts it to the top of the stream, and then obviously you've got 40,000 followers. That some of them are not going to be online now, and some of them will be online tomorrow, and you just.
But that's what annoys me the most. Is like where every time I open SoundCloud, I can see when you got your notifications. I'm always got new followers, new comments, and and the numbers are going up, but it doesn't show up on the you know what I mean? It's weird. It's kind of like, hold on, I've got 41,000, but why have I not got like 20,000 on Torah about you? That's that's organic. That's organic from the beginning of Vanilla Race's career. That's all from free downloads and just general, releasing music over the years.
I always wish platforms had an active sound. Like if you could see in your stats your active followers and see how many people have actually been online the last. That'd be super helpful. Yeah, so you said you signed a load of music for a second. Does that mean you're signing more for this VA?
So I've got the 30 tracks will come out this Friday.
Yeah.
And then part 2, the sequel, will come out on like August the 12th. That'll be probably about 10, 15 tracks max. But knowing me, by then I'll probably be another 20.
Okay, so if they're in the chat and they've got music that's like this, they should be sending you right now. It's what kind of...
So play. Let's go to the What You Want, Wonder. So basically, I did an edit for this guy.
Yeah.
But this track. Yeah, let's play this.
Right, that's heavy. So you did an edit. What did you do?
Not much, really. I kind of just made it sound a little bit better. He's just a new producer from Brazil. I just love the vocal and just the general like dark vibe of it. Someone like that, when they're like a new artist, I say to them like, let me just mess around a bit, a little bit. Even if I just make it sound a little bit better, basically just helps them, But obviously they need to grow their profile. And first time I saw someone do the edit thing, I think it was Pleasure Craft. Remember when Bontan first came out? And he had that massive deep house track, and it had like Pleasure Craft edit. And I always thought that was very clever marketing, because you don't really have to do anything, but you're helping the new artist by not doing, you just put your name on it, but you're helping them, Because at the end of the day, an edit isn't a remix, and you're not adding anything to it really. You're just rearranging it a little bit and making it sound, obviously make it sound better, which I did. But yeah, no, I loved it. I got it, and I was like, oh wow. Really, I wanted to put it out as a single, but I was just, it's tough when there's literally the release schedule is packed until December. So I was like, I've started to I've had to start doing track source exclusives now.
What's been the plan before? Beatport.
Just Beatport. But now because I'm getting overflow now, I've had to start doing track source exclusives.
So you're doing one a week or 2 releases a week?
Some weeks will be 2. So this Friday will be this guy Rodrigo. I'm going to I'll probably say his name or is Rodrigo Sexis or something. He's got an AP on track source exclusive on Wyldcard. And that'll be my first exclusive on TrackSource as Wyldcard. But it had to be done because otherwise these guys are going to be waiting until next year. You know what I mean?
Did you change your release structure through pandemic? Did you?
No, I stuck at it. But because since we've been coming out of lockdown, I've been getting more and more demos. I was like, there's not enough weeks in the year to release everybody. So I was like, well, if I start putting stuff on TrackSource as well, exclusive, then it kind of solves the problem.
Streaming platforms the same time as TrackSource, or is it just TrackSource?
I always find it interesting what other labels do. So Kitball, like this last Friday, Kitball just did Beatport exclusive and Spotify exclusive for the Me and Amy Lauren EP. And then there's some labels, like say if you release on like a Simmer Black, it will literally be everywhere same day, streaming every single place, which is fine as well. But usually for Wyldcard, I do Beatport exclusive 2 weeks and streaming everywhere same day. So what I do now, so if it's TrackSource, I do TrackSource exclusive and then streaming everywhere same day. So basically the same thing, just on TrackSource. Yeah.
I always think they're not competition.
Not really, but they like to think they are. I think that it's different. I don't know. If I want music for my Sammy Do sets, like the disco, new dust, like the funky stuff, I'll go to TrackSource. I think they got you'll get better stuff on there.
I know that some labels go Beatport and then 2 weeks later everything else. And I'm always curious to like why wouldn't you go on the streaming platforms, because they're not competition. Like one's a download and one's a stream.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's why I do it. Because I'm like, not everyone's a DJ, not everyone's downloading tunes.
Yeah.
So you got people out there that go, I don't know, just like dance music, and they want to hear tunes. Like
yeah. I also think like you can find tunes, like you'd get sales from being on streaming as well. Like.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, it's interesting. I just had a release. This guy Ming, he had a great EP out recently called One Night in Egypt, and his Spotify game is incredible. After the first weekend, he had like 50,000 plays and all this stuff. I was like, oh, some artists are great with like social media. Some are great at it, and some aren't. And it's the same with Spotify. Some know how to get their stuff heard and on the playlist, and some are clueless. So,
how's your promo plan now? What are you promoting? Because I noticed you were promoting.
Yeah, I'm with iMusic. I still do stuff with iMusic. Are you? So we try and do on the week of or a couple of weeks before. Depends really. But then again, it's been hard because when you haven't been working and you've got a mortgage to pay and bills and whatever, you just can't be affording, the best radio plugger in the world. It goes back to the $1 million winning the lottery question. It all goes back to that. Let me win the lottery. I'd literally pump so much money into the label. I'd have the fucking best radio pluggers on tap and like brown paper bags for Radio 1 DJs. You know what I'm saying?
If that happens, I'm sure it probably does.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Come on. We all know it does.
Let's not be naive. Yeah, Marco Lev, I've known a lot about. He's been making some great music.
Yeah, no. Eventually, I signed something from him. He sent me a few demos, but me being my fussy self, I was just waiting until he sent me the right thing. So that's cool.
Do you have a process when you're listening to the music? Certain things must tick certain boxes.
No, I just gotta like it. Basically, I just gotta like it. I just gotta be like, would I play this? Would I play it myself? That's always the question. Like I listen to it critically. Like, would I play this? Would other people enjoy this? Is it interesting? I say no to loads of people. Loads. I think it's a fair balance of things I say yes to, and then there's a lot I say no to. I'm not
And
too
then
critical. I just say it's not for us at the moment. That's all.
and then the business end. Do you like? Obviously, you're saying have you been doing more compilations in lockdown? Like, I noticed you do a lot of full
I try and just
EPs.
do 2 to 4 max a year of the comps. I try and keep it to EPs, like artist EPs and releases. Yeah, I mean it depends how many how many good demos I get sent. Really, that's how this like wild. I had no real plan to do another Wild Grooves one, but then I got sent so many tunes, and then before I know it, I've gone like, oh crap, I've just signed 30 tracks for a compilation. And I know a lot of people would be like, oh, that's too much. But then I was like, well, I've been on Tool Room House Party and they have 50 tracks, so 30 tracks is okay. So it's all
Yeah,
right.
it's going to do well in their releases
So
chart for sure.
hope so. I mean, if everyone pushes it, and they are actually they're good. This bunch is always funny because some it depends on the group of artists you got, but this bunch of artists on this one, they're on it. They're like literally non-stop, like tagging me and stuff. So it's good. It's good.
That's cool. Does the business
Yeah.
brain go in at all when you're building a compilation? Like, do you think they're good on social, they're good, they're not so good, but that'll balance it?
No, I should maybe look at that as well. But I mean, I'm not going to name names. There's some artists that are horrendous at promoting themselves. They think, magically people are going to realize they've released something. It's like people aren't psychic. My fans aren't your fans. You know what I mean? It's like you got to tell your fans about it. That's the whole point. That's why you release music, not so you can just like, oh, then they complain like, oh, it didn't do anything, or this didn't happen, or whatever. It's like, yeah, because you didn't do anything. If you don't hammer at home, it's not. How's anyone going to know?
Agree. What have you got coming up the rest of the year? Have you got? You said you're getting gigs. You said you're getting US gigs again now.
No, so basically my US visa ran out last year during the lockdown, so I got to do that whole renewal process, get the new O1 visa. But it's a tricky situation because it's you just don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I could go and spend the money, get the visa renewed, but then what happens if America just suddenly goes back into lockdown or whatever, and then it's like might as well flush that money down the toilet. I mean, I know the visa lasts 2-3 years, but still, it's kind of like, ooh, it's a risk. It's a risky one to do.
Oh, we've had a question in the Discord. As a DJ producer, what is one piece of advice above any other for fellow DJ producers?
Just make great music. Make great music. Stand out. Try and stand out. Go and listen to all the old classic favorites and dissect them and realize why they're classics. Try and make something timeless. It's a hard question. And from a DJ point of view, I'd say know the craft. It depends what you're playing. If you're obviously we're talking about house music, but I would say know the history of the music you're playing. Like they know that it comes from disco and funk and from black and gay clubs and how it evolved into dance music. And I don't know, just going. There's a great book that I read when I was coming up. I'm looking at it now because it's on my shelf. It's called like Last Night a DJ Saved My Life, about the history of the DJ. I recommend everyone to read that book. Who wrote that book again? I can't remember the guy's name. It's Bill Brewster. That's it.
Yeah, that's a great book.
Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. You can find it probably for £1 or something on Amazon or something, or eBay. But if you're a new DJ, I'd say go and, above all else, go and read that book. Go and read Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. It's so interesting as well.
More questions in the chat. Okay. Are you a hardware fan or are you in the box?
People always ask me about how the tunes are made. Usually I make stuff at home on like Ableton and even lately I've been messing around with Serato Studio just because it all syncs so well together, like all the timing and stuff. And it's so easy to use. And then I tend to go into the studio that in East London, and that's got a lot more keyboards and hardware and just finish stuff off. But I've got to love it. For me to go get to the studio, I have to love it first. I have to love the idea of what I've done, and then and also same with when you're collaborating. It's kind of like someone can send you an idea, and a lot of times, a bit like the Amy Lauren EP, like is literally pretty much done. Like when she sent it to me, I was just like, these tracks are great, as ready. Like, what do you want me to do? And she was like, I don't know, just a little bit here, a little bit there. Sometimes in collaborating, you don't need to do much at all. A bit like the What You Want edit. It's kind of like you just make it sound a little bit better. But Amy's great. Amy DJs on Select Radio. She does really well.
I'm aware of her. Yes, I didn't know she was on DJ
Yeah.
Select, but I'm aware of her from a
Yeah, she'll select.
social
I
one.
think she does some BBC. I think she's done BBC introducing and some other bits.
And how did that cut? So you're saying that she sent the tracks to you, and then
So I'd released an EP of hers. I can't remember now. I think it was earlier this year on Wyldcard, and we've been chatting and stuff. And I'd done guest mixes for her on Select, and then she just sent me the tunes, and she was like, "What do you think of these?" And I said, "Yeah, cool. Let me finish them." And then sent them to a few labels. A few people said no. Some people then Kitball were like, "Yeah, love it," and I was like, "Cool." So Kitball's obviously, a lot of times the artists, if I'm collaborating, the artists will ask me to do the shopping because obviously, they probably know I got the contacts and stuff. So yeah.
yes.
Well, a lot of times I do that with demos as well. So someone sends me something that isn't right for me. I say this will be perfect for such and such, and I'll give them the email address. I say send this to so and so. So I'm like unofficial A&R. I'm unofficial A&R for all the labels.
Yeah, I do that. I do that with premieres a lot. Someone sends me a premiere, and I'm like, I'm not doing that, but you need to go and speak to this person or this person because they'll probably pick it up.
No, it's good. It's good to be like that. I like helping. I don't mind help if I like it and it's not for me. Like if it's like sometimes people send me stuff that's like on my Sammy Deuce vibe, and I'm like, yeah, this is something I'd probably play as my in the Sammy Deuce set or whatever. And I say to them, I'll send it to, and I'll just give them the email addresses. I'll be like, yeah, send it to this guy, and they end up getting signed. And I'm like, yeah, great.
Let's talk about Sammy Deuce. So how did that come about?
Sammy Deuce started a few years ago, mainly because I was doing too many different sounds under Vanilla Ace, and I was getting annoyed that I couldn't I needed to basically just like to hone in on a sound or style on one thing. So I decided to keep Vanilla Ace on the more kind of clubby side, like the house, tech house, kind of like even like, just cool deep house vibe. And then Sammy Deuce would be more on the, if you go listen to Sammy Deuce stuff, it's mainly like, like Jack in house, new disco-y, kind of like, obscure samples and whatever. But it's been going well. Obviously I know Seb Jr. I've known, me and him have collaborated before as, with my Vanilla Ace stuff. I told Seb I'm doing the Sammy Deuce thing. I had a recent number one with Treasure Fingers. That was on Nervous. That was called Fooled Me. And me and Seb Jr., we've had a few number ones together on Space Disco and Deep Palmer. So yeah, that stuff tends to be like on the disco-y kind of, some of it can be a bit like deep disco, some of it's like Jack in House. But it all tends, it's a mixture of stuff really. All sounds quite similar there.
Yeah, I like that. I like that alias a lot.
The stuff I do with Seb always tends to be a bit deeper because that's he's on that deep house vibe, but it's cool. It always ends up doing quite well.
Have you been doing collabs during like the lockdown period?
Not that much really. I mean, a lot of Sammy Deuce ones, but not loads of Vanilla Ace stuff really. So I did the latest Vanilla Ace collabs with these guys, Suave and Hitter. They live in America, but they're from I think they're from Mexico. I think they're Mexican. I had these great Latin samples. They released an EP of mine on my label, which was like Latin influence. So I had these Latin samples I've always wanted to do something with. So I just knocked up a really rough idea and I sent it to them. I said, "What do you guys think of this? Let's do a collab on these." And so Space Yacht have signed one, and Nervous signed the other one, which is cool.
That's
and
cool.
They're kind of like on the Latin house kind of vibe. I like Latin music in general. I think it's really cool. And what else? Yeah, so the Amy Lauren collab. I got a few collab. I got an EP on Bacchanal coming with some Brazilian guys. This guy called Freebeat, and another EP. There was one track on Deep Root Records.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of Sammy Deuce stuff. Yeah, we've got some stuff coming on Angelo Ferreri's label. God, I can't keep up my own schedule, but yeah, there's a lot coming. Actually, I need to get. Yeah, I need to actually finish. I got so many things I need to finish off for the rest of the year. So I always tend to do that early in the year. I make a bunch of tunes that will last me until like the summer, and then around this time, I need to go back in and do the rest for the rest of the year. I try and do them in bulk. I try and just go and do, so I don't have to be in there loads. I try and go in there, just like knock them all out, and then like that's it. So I can actually have a bit of a life as well. I
noticed you're saying a lot of labels there. Are you conscious you're spreading around those labels? Or you?
Yeah, I am now. I never used to be, but now I am now. I'm very. I always say to labels straight off the bat, I say let's make sure that they're spread out and nothing's on top of each other and all that stuff.
Let's talk about your release on In It Together.
So that's streaming already. That's on streaming already, and I think that comes out on Beatport this week. Yeah, a bit of a mental week for me. So I got the compilation. I got Rodrigo on Track Source. I got this on this. I think it's already out on Track Source, but I think this one it comes out on Beatport this week.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think we played it on New Music Friday on Friday because it was streamable on Friday. So, and it's, release date is this Friday on Beatport, but it's also available.
Yeah.
So cool.
The K&K guys I've known for a while, good lads, and this is one of those ones. I shouldn't say this. It's one of those ones where this vocal is from our sample pack, but because they made it and sent it to me, and I didn't realize. I don't think I even asked I think I didn't really ask where the vocal was from, and then it was kind of like I heard someone else. I heard a promo or something else, someone else using it, and I was like, oh my god, it's one of those ones where it must be from a new sample pack, and like everyone's got it, and I was like, oh god, it's still a good tune, but it's kind of like one of those ones where you're like. Probably get like 10 demos in the next month with that same vocal.
Got to find the hidden gems in the sample packs, Hideko's saying. Someone said, where's the demo drop?
Yeah, it's wildcardbiz@gmail.com. Wildcardbiz, biz with a Z. My pet peeve is when people ask me where the demo email is, and it's on the label on the Wildcard Facebook page. It's on my Vanilla Race Instagram page. Is like, come on guys, it's right there. It's like, come on, it's right in front of you. Even on my SoundCloud page I have it. I don't hide it. If people want to, it's there.
Okay, we've not listened to this Carl Zuck and Dance
yeah
Dance
they're from
Armstrong.
America, these guys.
Let's play this bad boy, and then
they're from the States.
And then we'll see if there's any questions, and we'll jump out. Cool, that was wicked.
So yeah, it's like, I got literally guys from Russia, South America, USA, Canada, Europe. Yeah, there's a lot of good talent out there.
It's good. It's really good. I like that. It's cool. So that's out on Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday everywhere. Everywhere
Nice.
on Friday. Yeah.
We'll play some of that. Thanks for doing this today, mates. It's been good to chat to you.
No, it's fine, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I could talk for ages. I know it's my. I end up talking, and I'm like, fuck. Where's the time gone?
So this will go up on the interview will go up on all platforms, and as before, if anyone samples this, we'll send it to Sam. Like that track with Zamello did before, where he sampled the other video. That was pretty funny.
And that ended up doing really well. That track, that was funny. It was the last thing on the. It was such a last minute addition. It ended up being like the last track on the thing. The track that did well. It's quite funny.
Oh really? That's cool.
Yeah, it did out of that whole compilation. It did better than like all the other tracks, and I was like, it was literally the last edition, last minute.
Well, that's very cool. Someone sample some of this video, please, and especially the bit where he's talking about how he hates piano tracks and make a piano track out of it. That'd be really funny.
I don't hate all piano house. I just hate the generic shit that you hear on the radio all day.
Yes, I agree. I think that's it for the questions. Wicked, mate. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you.
So, as with the previous video with Vanilla Ace, if you find something in this video you can sample it, make a track, and then send me that track, and I'll send it to Vanilla Ace, and let's see if we can get that one signed as well. That'd be quite fun. We have 2 from 2. That'd be well cool. Join us on Twitch, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and join us in the Discord, discord.gd/Graham Farmer, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.